This episode is brought to you by Honda. Introducing the all-new, all-terrain Honda Passport Trail Sport, the most off-road capable Honda Passport Honda has ever dreamt up. The Passport features increased ground clearance, roof rails on all trims, and available specially developed all-terrain tires. And you'll stay comfortable with tri-zone climate control and available features like heated and ventilated front seats and a panoramic moonroof. Learn more at honda.com/passport.
Are you a forward thinker? Then you need an HR and finance platform that thinks like you do. Workday is the AI platform that helps propel your organization, your workforce, and your industry into the future. Workday, moving business forever forward.
At Sephora, we've got what you want because you're obsessed with your skin, and we're obsessed with what it needs. Sephora has the best products to help you get beautiful, glowing, radiant skin. With an extensive, inclusive range of results-driven formulas and in-store beauty advisors to help you find exactly which are right for you, the best skincare is only at Sephora. Sephora, for all your skincare.
This is the FPL Draft Zone, your fantasy team's best signing of the season.
Manchester City show some of their old form as they fight back against Palace. Leicester do the unthinkable and score twice. And Everton dent Forest's hopes of the Champions League with a last-minute winner. Hello and welcome to the FPL Draft Zone, a podcast all about Draft FPL. I'm Dom Crofts. I hope you are well. And Gameweek 32 is nearly over. 10 of the 12 matches have now been played, and we're going to be taking a look back at all the results and throwing forward as well to Gameweek 33, where there are doubles for 4 more teams. This week's action kicked off on Saturday lunchtime, where Manchester City came from 2-0 down to thrash Crystal Palace 5-2. Kovacic and Kevin De Bruyne owners would have been very happy with their returns in this one. And if you jumped on the Chris Richards bandwagon, if there was indeed a bandwagon, I'm not sure I count as a bandwagon, but I managed to get him in. He managed to walk away with a 6-point return despite conceding 5 goals. Now that is a victory of sorts. In the 3 o'clock kickoffs, Brighton failed to beat Leicester at home. Shameful, but João Pedro scored twice for the hosts. Mavididi was amongst the scorers for Leicester. Forest were beaten at home by David Moyes' Everton. A rare Decore goal was the difference in this one, and Dwight McNeil was back with an assist for the Toffees. Aston Villa took a while to break down Southampton at St Mary's, but when they did, the floodgates opened. McGinn, Watkins and that man Marlon on target for Unai Emery's men. Aaron Ramsdale walked away with maximum bonus though, after making 7 saves for the hosts. And in the late kick-off, a heavily rotated Arsenal side drew 1-1 with Brentford, Wissa scoring for the Bees after Thomas Partey had put the Gunners in front. On Sunday, Chelsea found themselves 2 goals down at home to Ipswich Town, but Jadon Sancho broke his goal-scoring duck to earn the Blues a point. That one finished 2-2, and Liverpool edged ever closer to that Premier League title thanks to a late Virgil van Dijk winner. They beat West Ham 2-1 at Anfield. Wolves continued their fine form with a 4-2 win over Spurs. Aït-Nouri, Cunha and Strand Larsen were all on target for the home side. Tell and Richarlison scored for Spurs. And then in the final game of the weekend, Newcastle thrashed Manchester United 4-1 with Harvey Barnes, the star of the show, as he scored twice for the Toon. There are still 2 games to play before the curtain comes down on Game Week 32. Bournemouth take on Fulham at the Vitality on Monday night, and then there is the game on Wednesday between Newcastle United and Crystal Palace. But hopefully, your head-to-head matchup is already in the bag before those games even take place. And if you're not in a head-to-head league, you're in a classic league. Well, hopefully your points tally is so impressive that it doesn't even matter what happens in those games. Right, it is time for a little bit of this.
The FPL Draft Zone. Winners and losers.
Yes, it is winners and losers time, and first up are the winners, and first up is João Pedro, whose owners were laughing all the way to the FPL bank after he scored twice against Leicester and got maximum bonus points to end his weekend with a 13-point return. The former Watford man now has 16 attacking returns for the season, and he's earned himself 26 bonus points over the course of the campaign, which puts him in 6th place of all players in terms of most bonus points won. I believe that means he is a bonus points magnet. Ryan Aït-Nouri also makes the winners list after he got a goal and an assist and maximum bonus against Spurs. It's 10 attacking returns for him now this season. He ended the weekend with a 14-point haul. And Kevin De Bruyne is our third winner this week after he got a goal and an assist in City's win over Crystal Palace. He finished his game week with 12 points, and despite limited game time this season, he now has 3 goals and 9 assists for the campaign. As for the losers, and there are a few, but there is no bigger loser this week than Mr. Jed Spence, who had a weekend to forget after he scored an own goal and conceded 4 at Molineux for Spurs. He finishes the game week on -2 points, but he was not alone in ending with a negative score. He was joined by teammates Ben Davis, as well as Andy Robertson of Liverpool, Axel Tuanzebe of Ipswich, and Max Lacroix of Crystal Palace, who all finished with minus scores. Shame, shame, shame. So bad luck if you started any of them. A few players who returned this week, who we recommended last week, by the way. This is the bit where we pat ourselves on the back. Chris Richards ended the game week with that 6-point return thanks to a goal against Manchester City. Sandro Tonali and Harvey Barnes were amongst the goals for the Toon as they beat Manchester United. Simon Adingra and Matt O'Reilly both got assists in Brighton's draw with Leicester. Ian Matson got a clean sheet for Villa. Jadon Sancho scored for Chelsea. Madueke got an assist, as did Alexis McAllister for Liverpool and Munetsi for Wolves. That sound you can hear, patting on the back. So those are our winners and those are our losers. But who was the star of the show, the king of the hill, the best of the bunch? It is time to reveal our fantasy hero of the week.
Hero of the week.
And this week's winner is, of course, Aaron Ramsdale, who had a sensational game against Aston Villa, despite ending up on the losing team. 7 saves from him, including 2 penalty saves, earning owners of the former Arsenal man a massive, a humongous, a gigantic 16-point return. His side may be playing in the Championship next season, but surely he will find a new home in the Premier League with another side, because he is too good to be playing second-tier football. He is one of only 3 keepers to have made more than 100 saves this season, and only 7 other keepers have earned more bonus points than him. He was not good enough for Arsenal, but he is better than Robert Sanchez, and I will not hear otherwise. He is better than Andre Onana, and I will not hear otherwise. He is better than Flecken, he is potentially better than Verbruggen, and he is certainly better than Areola and Sarr. He is going to be up for grabs in the summer, and if he joins another top-flight side, do not discount him from your draft team for next season, because he is better than your average keeper. Aaron Ramsdale, we salute you, sir. You are our fantasy hero of the week.
Hero of the week.
Right, Game Week 32 is nearly over. The season is nearly over, but there are still 6 game weeks left. And next up is Game Week 33, where there are 12, count them, 12 fixtures to look forward to, including doubles for Arsenal, Aston Villa, Crystal Palace and Manchester City. So let's not faff about. Let's crack on with this week's Waiver Wants.
The FPL Draft Zone. Waiver Wants.
And as usual, we're going to be taking a look at the game week in fixture order and making a few waiver suggestions that will hopefully help you win your game week. A reminder that we are focusing on those players likely to be available on your waivers, diamonds in the rough you might call them. And we're going to start with the 3 o'clock kickoffs, because there is no 12:30pm GMT game this weekend. So first up, it is the Battle of the Bees. Brentford against Brighton. Brentford have lost just 2 of their last 8 games. Brighton have won none of their last 4. The last 2 meetings between these two have both finished 0-0, including the game at the Amex in December. But frankly, I cannot see either team keeping a clean sheet in this one, and that means I'd be looking at any available attacking assets here. O'Reilly has played over an hour in his last 2 matches for Brighton now. He got an assist at the weekend. Adingra also played last time out and returned. He may well retain his place if Matoma misses out again. As for Brentford, Nathan Collins is the only defender in this game that I would consider after he got another attacking return this weekend. He now has 6 assists for the season, from centre-back, by the way, as well as a couple of goals. And given Brighton's ropey defensive record of late and Brentford's attacking threat, I do think this could be another week where Kevin Schade gets a return. He has not done much since game week 25. 0 returns since then, but with Wissa and Mbumo almost certainly taken in your league, Schade is the next man up. Managers will have given up on him as a result of blank after blank after blank, but Brighton give away a lot of high quality chances. Leicester racked up nearly 2 XG against them at the weekend. So this could be a week where Schade rediscovers his form in front of goal and you reap the dividends. It's Crystal Palace against Bournemouth at Selhurst Park, and this is the first of 2 fixtures for Palace in Game Week 33 as they also go to Arsenal, and that makes them a team to target. The downside is, of course, that they are having a double as we speak in Game Week 32, so most of their first teamers will already be taken. There is a chance that Guehi was dropped by some managers following his red card against Brighton, and if that's the case in your league, get him in. Yes, they conceded 5 against Manchester City, so a Palace defender may not be high up your priority list, but that was only the 3rd time they conceded a goal away from home in their past 9 trips away from Selhurst Park. And Bournemouth look tired, they look out of sorts, and they look like a side whose season is on the slide. So I do fancy Palace in this one. Eddie Nketiah is also back from suspension, and although he won't be starting, he will fancy his chances of making an impact from the bench, and he could be available as a result of his red card against Brighton. And if you're in a head-to-head and you have got some positions in your squad that you're happy to rotate in and out, you might want to think about guaranteed starters for Palace, safe in the knowledge that if they do absolutely nothing other than start both games, they should get you a minimum of 4 points. So the likes of Lerma would fall into that category. As for Bournemouth, at the time of recording, we don't know how they're going to get on against Fulham, but if you fancy them to get some success at Selhurst Park, the likes of Utara could well be available, and he has started to play games again. Tavernier may be fit as well in time for this one as he continues to recover from an ankle injury. Outside of that, the likes of Evan Nilsson and Semenyo will, of course, already be taken. In-form Everton take on an inconsistent Manchester City at Goodison Park. City seem to have started to score goals again, but Everton do not let many in against anyone these days, so Pep's team may not get as much joy in this one as they did against Crystal Palace. In fact, Everton have only conceded more than 1 goal once in their last 8 matches, and in that time they have played the top 3, Liverpool, Arsenal and Nottingham Forest. Having said that, they have got a terrible record at home to Manchester City. They've lost the last 8 in a row at Goodison and conceded 20 goals in the process. So if you know your history and you think it will be more of the same, it should be a win for the away team. Personally, I can see this one being a score draw or a home win though. I still don't think City are fully at it, and that means that I'm fancying Everton a little bit more. There are likely to be more Everton assets available on the waivers than City as well. As for who, we've spoken about Doucouré's habit of scoring goals in bunches, and having got the winner against Forest this weekend, it would not surprise me if he got another goal in Game Week 33. Dwight McNeil came off the bench for the 2nd game week in a row as well, and he set up that winner against Nuno Espirito Santo's team. It's 3 goals and 6 assists for him now this season, so he's another option if you're backing the Moisaya to continue his fine run of form as manager of the Toffees. But of course, we mustn't forget that City are one of the teams that have a double game week. So of course, if there are any assets available on your waivers, you need to do your best to get them in. Ortega Moreno came off the bench to replace Ederson in that win over Palace, so that could be a route into their backline if the Brazilian is out for this week. He would be a very astute pickup given the double game week. O'Reilly started his 3rd game in a row and scored as well against Palace, and Gundogan now has 2 returns in his last 4, so they would be the 3 players I'd be looking at outside of those almost certainly taken and already owned in your draft league. West Ham take on Southampton at the London Stadium, and the Hammers, well, they've not been great under Graham Potter so far, but it is Southampton at home, so you'd have to fancy them in this one. Fulkrog did not start against Liverpool, but he did come on, and if he's still available in your league, he's definitely worth picking up. Paqueta has now started the last 4 in a row as well, and he is likely to be on penalties if West Ham get one. And James Ward-Prowse against his old club feels like the sort of story that will almost certainly produce a goal. I'm not sure I back West Ham to keep a clean sheet even in this one, but having said that, unless you've got 5 defenders worth holding, it's probably worth rolling the dice and getting one of them in. The likes of Wan-Bissaka may be taken, but there are almost certainly still plenty of Tadibos, Kilmans and Scarls that have not been picked up in your leagues. Aston Villa have a double in 33. They entertain Newcastle and then go to Manchester City. Their starting 11 should be full strength, irrespective of what happens against PSG in the Champions League, purely because of the calibre of the opposition they face and the fact they are desperately chasing Champions League football again. And that means that if you picked up Maatsen last week, he's probably a drop this week. I suspect Digne will start in these games. Pau Torres, though, should start if fit, and having recently returned from injury, he will probably be available in a lot of leagues. Tyrone Mings is another who is playing regularly now, but is also still likely free in a good few leagues. I'm not sure Villa will keep a clean sheet in either game. They are not defensively strong, but the potential rewards if they do mean it's probably worth getting in some Villa coverage at the back. Jacob Ramsey seems to have cemented a place in Unai Emery's first team. Of all their attacking options, and there are a lot, he is the most likely to be free. And Yuri Tielemans is having a very good moment as well right now. It's been back-to-back assists for him over the past 2 game weeks. So he is another option. As for Newcastle, like Palace, most of their options will have been taken due to their double in Gameweek 32. But of course, it goes without saying that if any of their midfield 3 are available, get them in, because it is now 4 games in a row where at least one of them has got an attacking return. Tonali and Bruno were amongst the points against Manchester United.
Clorox Sentiva smells like grapefruit. Cleans like Clorox. And feels like...
Okay, we could be here all day. Try Clorox Sentiva for a trusted clean with long-lasting freshness. Also available in lavender and coconut. Use as directed.
Revolutionize your cooking with the Tefal Infrared Air Fryer. Watch as your food crisps up through a large lighted window and delight in faster, crispier, and juicier results with no preheating, thanks to Tefal's advanced infrared technology. Discover the future of cooking and bring innovation into your kitchen by visiting Tefal.com.
Empower. Claire is practicing her breathing for her upcoming yoga retreat in Bali. Has she ever done yoga before? No. But Claire worked with Empower on her savings and investment strategy. She got good at money, so she can be a little bad. Empower. Invest well, live a little. Join our 19 million customers today at Empower.com.
Past performance is not indicative of future returns. Investing involves risks. You may lose money. Advisory services are provided for a fee by Empower Advisor Group, LLC, EAG, a registered investment advisor with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Om Namaste.
On Sunday, it is a West London derby with Fulham taking on Chelsea. And I'll be honest with you, I fancy Fulham to win this one. I have not been impressed with Chelsea, and they've got the distraction of Europe to keep them occupied. So I'm going to big up one man once again. Not for the first time. I'm bigging up Alex Iwobi, who is a player I can very much see returning here. I would not be surprised either, by the way, if they managed to keep a clean sheet against Chelsea. So consider the likes of Anderson and Bassi if they are free. I just think Chelsea look very, very pedestrian. They are woefully out of form as well. So yes, I'm backing Marco Silva's side to win this one, and therefore I am backing you to pick up Fulham assets. Ipswich, well, they're at home to Arsenal. The Gunners have a double as well this week with a game at the Emirates against Crystal Palace to follow their game against Ipswich. As for their starting 11s, a lot will depend on what happens in that second leg against Real Madrid. But given the double, any route into their midfield or attack is probably a good route because it's Ipswich Town. Declan Rice is of course the man of the moment. We've bigged him up on this show many times before, and if he's free, he's a must given his corner deliveries and now his potential from free kicks. Kivior is probably taken by now, but if he is not, he is going to be a regular between now and the end of the season. Ben White's picked up another knock. Wanyeri owners may have tired of his rotation risk, but in a double game week after Madrid, I would expect him to start at least one of these games. And the same goes for Leo Trossard, who will definitely get minutes. So any of them are worth signing with that Ipswich game in mind, and anything they get in addition to that against Palace is an added bonus. Manchester United take on Wolves at Old Trafford, and United, well, they've been poor of late, but if you can see them turning it around at home to Wolves, maybe, just maybe, Mason Mount could work some magic for you. He came off the bench against Newcastle. If you think he can make an impact, maybe you can sign him. I mean, you can tell by the way I'm saying this that you probably shouldn't sign him because it's a slightly mad world we live in, but it's a fact that when you look at these two sides, Wolves are probably going into this one as favourites to take all 3 points at Old Trafford. They are clearly the better team right now. They've picked up 19 points in their last 10 games. They've won 5 of their last 7. United, by comparison, have picked up 12 points in their last 10 and won 2 of their last 7 against Ipswich and Leicester City. They've not won against anybody else. Wolves' best option that is available on your waivers is probably still Mignetzi. He is flying a little under the radar, but he's now got 3 returns in his first 8 games in England. Bellegarde, his minutes have reduced since the return of Cunha, so it's Mignetzi for me from Wolves. It's Leicester against Liverpool at the King Power, and this is very much a game to target in any way you can. Don't be fooled by the fact that Leicester got a point at Brighton. Liverpool are going to absolutely shellac them here. Their options will of course be few and far between, but it's the usual suspects who might be free. You might be able to get a McAllister. You may be able to sign a Curtis Jones. Maybe even Connor Bradley is up for grabs. They are the 3 most likely to be on your waiver pile, and if any of them are, get them in, please. On Monday, it's Spurs against Forest as Nuno returns to North London. Forest will be looking to bounce back from defeat at home to Everton. Spurs, though, well, they'll be coming into this one having travelled to Germany in their Europa League quarter-final. So I'd fancy Forest to get back on track in this one. And given the threat they pose in terms of height in their side, I would fancy them to do some serious damage against Ange's men. They may well go 3 at the back, in which case Morato is likely to play again, so he could be a good option. Moreno is likely to continue in the absence of Aina as well, and he's more than capable of popping up and doing something in that attacking third. And Elliot Anderson is the most likely midfield option available if you want something a little further up the field. With Jota Silva another option, although his minutes are not guaranteed. As for Spurs, Tell has now got 2 goals in as many games, having scored against Wolves, and Richarlison only needed a quarter of an hour to score off the bench against them as well. He could be free in some leagues, and of course any playing striker is a good striker. Their defenders, on the other hand, don't bother. Do not bother. Tuesday sees City and Villa face each other in their second match of the game week, and Wednesday sees Arsenal take on Crystal Palace in the final game of the round. But we have already discussed those teams' options, so that is where we are. Those are your waiver tips for game week 33, and hopefully some of the names we have mentioned will help make it a successful week for you and your draft team. A lot is going to happen before you have to worry about those waivers, because the waiver deadline for this week is Friday the 18th of April at 1:30 p.m. GMT. Before that, we have Champions League Tuesday, Champions League Wednesday, Newcastle Crystal Palace, the Europa League and the Europa Conference. But then after that, it is the waivers. And then the free agency deadline is 24 hours after that deadline on Saturday the 19th of April at 1:30 p.m. GMT. And then the game week gets underway 90 minutes later with 4 3 o'clock kickoffs. I cannot wait. I really can't. Before we go, we're going to finish the show, though, with another request for you to give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or some positive words on Spotify or whatever podcast platform you use. I also need to tell you, in advance, an early apology. I'm not going to be here next week as I'm not in the country, so sorry about that. But I'm sure you'll survive, and I'm sure your draft team will survive and scale heady heights once more even without my inputs. We are, however, on social media. If you do want to get in touch with us, you can find us on X and Instagram, where our handle is at FPL Draft Zone, and we're on Blue Sky as well, where our handle is at fpldraftzone.bsky.social. But that is it for this week. Good luck ahead of Game Week 33. Good luck in the waivers. Good luck in free agency. And until next time, it is bye for now.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.